Good morning, friends. Thanks so much for choosing to spend some time with me today. This past week, I went to Winterthur Museum and Gardens to see their dried flower Christmas tree, and this tree was so epic. I'm guessing maybe it was a 25 foot tall tree adorned in all different varieties of dried flowers. Not only the classics like larkspur, strawflower, and hydrangea, but they even had peonies, zinnias. I think I saw sawflower, and I've never grown that before. Just so many cool and interesting varieties, and I wanted to share a little footage with you. And I just gathered so much inspiration from that trip over to Winterthur that what I want to do today is to create a dry dahlia Christmas tree inside of a shadow box. I want to kind of deck out our guest bathroom for Christmas, but only just using natural elements found around the house. So I thought I'd give that a try. And then I also want to create some Kokedama Paperwhites with you. I have an article that just came out today on creative ways to gift paperwhites. I've been embarrassingly working on that article for over a year because of these Kokedama Paperwhites. I tried creating them in all different ways, tried putting the bulbs in the Kokedama kind of all throughout the growing process. And I think I've landed on what's really working best in order to make a Kokedama Paperwhite, have it bloom in the Kokedama, and stay standing upright. So the article's out if you're interested in reading it, and I'll demonstrate how to make some of those with you today. And I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've ever made one and methods that work well for you. So here's a look at all the supplies that we'll need for this project, at least that I'm hoping we'll need because I've never done anything like this before. But we have a lot of beautiful dried dahlias. All of these are the Sweet Love Dahlia. And then we also have one dahlia here that we grew from seed, and I thought that might be a nice star on the top of the tree. And then I picked up a shadow box. This one is 14 by 18 inches, and I picked up some of these pins from Michael's as well. For the base of the tree, I thought we would use the stems of the dahlias that I cut right from these Sweet Love Dahlias. And I think what I'll do is sew these onto the felt board so that I'm able to repurpose this felt board later in the season. Well, we interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast to bring us all a dose of reality, which is that was kind of an epic fail. At first glance, it looks good, but immediately when I started to move the shadow box around, I see a really big problem. The main problem is I used pins that were too long, and so when I put the back of the shadow box on, a lot of the dahlias shifted around and the Christmas tree just didn't look right anymore. But I think, in theory, the idea would work if you just had smaller pins. So that was mistake number one. And mistake number two was attempting to sew the twigs into place. Once again, I think in theory that would have worked if you were just working with a piece of felt, but since it's a piece of super thick cardboard lined with felt, I could not get a needle to go through there, but I did get double stick tape to work. And mistake number three is not listening to the Doris Day Christmas album when you craft with garden materials. So I don't want to run out to Michael's and get some more pins, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hot glue the whole thing together, and then let's take another look and see how that goes. All right, take two. Okay, nothing's moving this time at least. Okay, so maybe after all, it is just easier to use hot glue and glue them to the felt. Although I do think if I had smaller pins, I would use that just so I can reuse the shadow box. The shadow box wasn't too expensive, but I think it still was about $15. And it would be so nice to create maybe someone's initial or change it up for the season. Maybe you could put your logo in something like this and use dried flowers to create your logo and put that in a shadow box. Anyway, just an idea I wanted to try. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Now let's get this hung in the bathroom and move on to those Kokedama Paperwhites. You know what? I think overall this is really nice, and I just needed to take a little more time assembling it and it would have had more of a perfected look to it. But hey, it's a homemade design, it'll work, I learned something, and we can try again next year. But it is nice in this bathroom with this color, isn't it? So whenever I saw paperwhite kokedamas on the internet, I thought they looked really cool, but I couldn't really figure out how to properly make them. Because if you want to do a Kokedama amaryllis, all you have to do is wrap it in moss and it'll grow on its own, and you just soak the bottom of the moss. You don't have to even add any soil in there if you don't want to. But with the paperwhites, when I tried that, when I put a brand new bulb that wasn't growing yet directly into moss, it didn't grow properly. Then I tried doing like a genuine kokedama with a brand new bulb. That didn't grow properly either, or it grew, but it just got really leggy and lanky and started falling over. So what really worked best was to either grow them over water to the point where they're blooming, or where they're budded up rather, or grow them in a cell pack to the same point where they're budded up, or at least right before. Like these are a little bit older than what I would normally be looking for, but as soon as you can kind of see the bloom here, that's when I was really having good luck popping them out, making them into kokedama, setting them wherever I wanted them to bloom, and then they were staying upright and not flopping all over the place, and they were still able to grow to the point of blooming. So let's go ahead and create a few together now. So since this is a very temporary kokedama, I'm just going to use regular potting soil. They're basically just going to be a kokedama for about 2 to 3 weeks, so I'm not worrying about any kind of specialty soil like you might with a standard kokedama. So I'll just put some soil in my pan because I don't have pots around here for some reason. I only have tons of pans. Each one of these only takes a really small amount of soil. I would say probably approximately a cup of soil. Then I'm going to moisten this to the point where I can create a ball in my hands that maintains its shape, but it's not sopping water, or it's not kind of oozing out water when I give it a good squeeze. Okay, let's test this out. So this looks really good. It's kind of holding into a nice ball for me. So now I'll pop out one of my paperwhites, and this does get pretty messy. So now we can just pop a paperwhite out. Now, like I said, I'm growing these ones in water, but this works just as well if you were to plant individual paperwhites into those big cell packs and then pop them out when they're at this stage. And you can see too, the leaves are still, nice and strong, growing upright. They're not kind of flopping all around. You know how sometimes paperwhites, they just tend to do that, right? So now I'm going to take my soil, and basically I'm going to surround the roots with the soil. I'll try to get it so you can see it. Like I say, it's pretty messy. Now I'm assuming that if you wanted to use that kokedama soil where you mix it up yourself, that would probably work even better. I'm trying to keep these projects as low cost as possible, and so potting soil is something that I always have around. So there you go. Friends, I'm so blind. I hope the camera is focusing. I can't really tell. But basically I have just the roots covered in the moist potting soil. It's holding itself together like a ball, but the bulb itself is staying dry, which really is crucial, especially when it comes to, well, when it comes to any kind of ball. So now let me clear my mess away and we'll go ahead and wrap this. So I just have some sheet moss here. I'll put my paperwhite right in the center there. And then we're just going to wrap it. Just like a nice present. And then just like you would with normal kokedama, we're going to go ahead and secure around it with twine. Friends, did you guys watch Martha Stewart growing up when she used to do more of the craft type shows or the holiday shows? How in the world did she keep her workspaces clean? It is a hot mess over on this table all the time. But just wind this twine all around your ball. But friends, I'm so happy to have discovered that this method really does work well. Now you still want to keep these Kokedama Paperwhites in a cooler location in your home, cool and bright. So these are going to go right into that guest bathroom where we put the dry Dahlia Christmas tree. I wouldn't want to stick this on, say, like my radiator. That's going to get a lot of heat and direct sunlight. Mainly that's just too hot for any kind of paperwhite. Cool temperatures and bright is ideal. Even if you have an area in your home that's, say, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, that's a great place to grow paperwhites. I know in a lot of newer homes that can be challenging, but if you have maybe a room that has no insulation, less insulation, just kind of a corner that tends to stay cooler, that's an area where I would choose to grow paperwhites. So I'm gonna just put these on my bathroom counter, so I'm just gonna cut the string and tuck it in. But you could also hang these from a mantle, or even if you had a really strong branches on your Christmas tree, I think you could hang them from that. So in that case, you would just wanna leave yourself some long tails of twine. But I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this here and tuck it in. So that's really all there is to it. These particular paperwhites I anticipate being in full bloom in about 1 week, judging from how they currently look. So they will need watered. I was watering mine last year about once a week, or when the ball felt really, really light. There's a decent amount of weight to it right now. You know, I can feel the weight of it, but when all that potting soil dries out, it's gonna feel really dry. It's gonna feel like almost nothing when you pick it up. So about once a week, submerge just the soil portion into a bowl of water. Let it drink up that water. And once you notice that it's absorbed the water, it's heavy again, take it out of the bowl. Let it kind of drip dry on a towel and then put it back on display wherever you like. So friends, I'll go ahead and make more kokedama, but what I like to do and what I did last year is I just placed one of these right there in my bathroom. I have a Kokedama Paperwhite, I have some nice Bath & Body Works soap, my towel over here, and then I can just switch these Kokedama Paperwhites out, you know, every week or two, so there's always one blooming in that bathroom. And it's just kind of nice because it is kind of a smaller bathroom, so to have a large vessel there on the counter just doesn't work. But having just one singular kokedama really looks beautiful and fun and festive. Well, it appears I bored Grace to death making those Kokedama Paperwhites, so I better either take her for a walk at the park or take her out for a cookie. Even that won't wake her up. But I want to wish you a wonderful day. I wanted to let you know I still plan to upload regularly Wednesday and Saturday at 7 a.m. as we continue through the winter months. Every once in a while, I might skip that Wednesday 7 a.m. upload, but I should have a Saturday 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time video up every single week. And we'll be back in the garden and doing lots of fun activities in the next few videos. I have one garden idea that I'm working on with my dad, and I think it's going to be really special, full of really whimsical holiday cheer. And what I hope will happen from this video is that it'll bring out the inner child in all of us. So I hope you'll look forward to that video too. I'll see you all sometime soon. Bye.